Hey everyone. If you have ever felt a knot in your stomach when a new competitor pops up in your town or when somebody else gets chosen for a market or an event that you really wanted, this video is for you. Competition usually doesn't hurt because of what other people are doing. It hurts us because of what it makes us question about ourselves. And those feelings are incredibly common, especially in creative, service based industries and retail too. And having those feelings doesn't make you petty or unprofessional, it just makes you human. But how you respond to those feelings is either going to strengthen your brand or it's going to quietly undermine it. So, today I want to talk to you about how to position yourself confidently without bad mouthing the competition and why that actually attracts better customers. Hey, I'm Nikki. I am the owner of Adornable Permanent Jewelry and Countess, where I focus on wholesale and client first business consulting. In less than 2 years, I built a successful permanent jewelry and ear piercing studio, and I scaled that experience into a wholesale brand. I did it by staying deeply customer centered, and I'm here to help you do the same. Okay, so let's talk honestly for a minute. In competitive industries, especially ones that feel saturated, which I hear a lot, especially in the permanent jewelry space, comparison is almost unavoidable. I mean, unless you're real good at tuning it out, which I'm not, it's just unavoidable. So you see somebody in your same industry that opens up nearby, or somebody else gets featured, or somebody else's social media seems to be growing faster. And without meaning to, those feelings can start to leak into how we talk about our work, our pricing, and sometimes even other businesses. And that's where things get tricky. Because when comparison turns into criticism or defensiveness, even subtly, it doesn't make you look more established, it makes you look reactive. Before we go further, I do want to define what I mean by positioning because that term was really confusing for me early on. So, positioning isn't about proving that you're better than somebody else. Positioning is about making it very clear who your business is for, how your business works, and what kind of experience somebody can expect when they choose your business. And strong positioning, it just helps the right customers recognize themselves in your business without you having to convince them. And so I'm going to use the permanent jewelry world as an example. So, in the permanent jewelry world, like I've seen businesses pop up that are really spiritual. So, they rely a lot on um, gemstones and what gemstones can do for you, and um, like zodiac signs and things like that. And it's super cool and they attract the right people. I've seen some permanent jewelry businesses that are like really edgy. Love that. I've seen some that are catered specifically towards brides, bridal showers, bridal parties. I've seen some that really focus on like solid gold. So, those are just some examples of the same industry but different positioning within that industry. Now, what you'll notice here is that none of those examples of positioning are how they compare to somebody else. So, some common mistakes that I see when it comes to positioning. So, um, I mean, the thing about competition is so hard. And you guys, I feel this too. And I have to say, like, I actually really thrive in competition. It is one of my top five. It's actually my top strength if you know Strengths Finders very well. Um, but yeah, I mean, I'd be lying if I didn't admit that I feel a little pang of something when, like, here's an example, a perfect example. There's a Galentine's Day event that is happening on the same street as my studio, and they have another permanent jewelry artist there. And you know what? I would be lying if it didn't like stab me in the heart a little bit. It's totally normal, it's totally human. Um, But our instinct as humans, when competition pops up or when we feel like it's like a little bit threatened by competition, is we have this tendency to point out why we're different by pointing out what others are doing wrong. Again, I'm going to use I'm going to just keep using permanent jewelry, but this can apply to you in any service-based industry that you're in. Like there's a tattoo studio right across the street, and this comes up a lot in tattoos. Like they'll be asked to touch up or correct somebody else's work, and like let's say a clothing boutique, it's easy to say, oh yeah, they don't offer as good a quality as us or whatever. But yeah, so the mistake that we make is that we oftentimes tend to talk about shortcuts that other people take. So if I'm correcting somebody's piece of permanent jewelry, or oh my gosh, you guys, I'm sorry if this is you, but I've seen this so often online on social media. It'll say like, um, red flags to look for when it comes to permanent jewelry. They don't use XYZ machine. They don't use this kind of thing. And it's like, guys, don't do that. Don't do that. You're creating distrust in the industry as a whole. So just don't do it. And it doesn't make you look good. It doesn't make you look more credible, even though it feels that way. It makes you look reactive. Um, Highlighting mistakes that you've seen other businesses make, or subtly implying that your work is more legitimate. And I think that's the trap that we tend to fall into is, so like if I have a permanent jewelry customer come in and say like, oh yeah, I got this bracelet from your competitor and I've just noticed like it's not as good a quality or it fell off after a week, it's very easy to just subtly say like, as something that makes the other business look bad, just don't do it. Just don't do it. Don't. Because it doesn't position you as stronger. It shifts the focus away from your values and onto somebody else's business. And you do not want your customers focusing on other people's business. They shouldn't be choosing you because Sally down the street charges more and they like your prices more. They should be choosing you because they just align with you and your business more. Customers, they don't need comparison. They need clarity. So, okay, let's talk about this is a tough shift for us to make as business owners. Not everybody is your customer. And you have to be okay saying no. And this is so hard. Trust me. It's still so hard for me, but it was especially hard for me at the beginning. Is understanding not everybody is my customer. And I don't want everybody to be my customer. They're not supposed to be. Somebody else's business might be perfect for somebody who's not the right fit for me. And that doesn't mean that my business isn't as good as theirs. It just means some customers are meant for me and some customers are meant for other people. And what is meant for me can't be taken from me. That is one of my biggest mottos. So, positioning, it's not about winning everyone. And you hear this a lot, like once you start taking business classes and stuff like that, you hear about like your ideal customer avatar. And I mean, and there is something to that, but the whole point of it is that you're not going to win everybody over, and you don't need to. It's about serving the right people really well. And when you accept that competition, it just loses a lot of its emotional charge because those customers weren't meant for you. Okay, so let's talk about how to position yourself. Confident brands don't position against competitors. They position towards their values. So they talk about how they work, what they prioritize, why their approach matters to the people who choose them. So instead of saying, we're better than Sally down the street, they say, hey, this is how we do things, and this is who that is for. And that shift just builds trust and attracts aligned customers without ever needing to mention somebody else. Here's a good question that you can ask yourself before you say anything publicly about your work or about your industry. Think to yourself, does this help my ideal customer understand why I'm right for them? If the answer is yes, say it. If the answer is no, pause. Your marketing should clarify, not compete. Okay, competition. Competition, even though it feels this way, competition does not mean that you are replaceable. It means that customers have choices and that makes you better. That's why I say, you guys, I thrive in competition because, man, it forces me. When I see people doing the dang thing, when I see my competitors out there being successful, I'm like, wow, like it inspires me. It lights me up. Even if sometimes I feel a little bit threatened or jealous, it still makes me think like, man, if they can do it, it's possible. Like the demand is out there. So, competition means that customers have choices, and your job is not to be the loudest one, it's to be the most clear. And when you're clear on who you're for, the right customer is going to feel it immediately. Okay. It's so much easier to say, and trust me, you guys, it's so much easier for me to say this in a video than for you to feel it in your heart. But it is my challenge for you is that I want you to think about the next time, if you're in permanent jewelry, the next time that somebody comes in because their bracelet fell off and you can see that it clearly wasn't welded appropriately, how are you going to position your company? Do you need to say, "Oh, I can see that this wasn't welded. Wow, where did you go to?" No. Just say, "Hey, let me fix this for you. I'm so happy to fix it. Here, I'm going to show you what I'm doing. I'm showing you that it's closed up nice and tight. I'm going to tug it to make sure that your chain, show you that your chain is on there well." And then without you even needing to even subtly hint at what your competition is doing, you have already positioned yourself as the expert or as the clear choice for your person. The strongest brands do not tear other people down. They stand firmly in who they are and they trust that the right customers are going to choose them. And this can get into a bigger conversation, which is that demand has to exist for what you're doing, but in the end, you get what I'm saying. If you want help clarifying your positioning or refining the language that you're using so that it feels confident and client-centered, especially when you run into those situations where you could so easily tear down your competition, even subtly, let me know. I offer client first strategy sessions where we can focus on alignment and not competition. So give me a shout. I will put my contact information in the show notes, but you can send me an email, hello@shopcounis.com. That's SHOPKAUNIS. Or you can go to shopcounis.com and find out more information about what it looks like to do some client first strategy sessions with me so that I can help you position yourself into a business that is going to survive the competition and feel really good to you and attract the right customers. All right. Thank you. Stay tuned for my next video.